Apia came to a literal standstill as Samoa hosted the All Blacks for the very first time ever in the history of the world. Sure, they lost the test match, but that wasn't going to put a dampener on things, and the celebrations have been long and for some hard. They are still lapping up the visitors apparently this morning too, with All Blacks coach Steve Hansen made an honorary chief by a Samoan village. In fact, I'm not even sure if he has been made the chief yet. The process is taking a long time. In recognition, that is, of his help to make the match possible, Jim is in Apia and joins me now. So, Jim, let's just talk about the mood of the place, because this morning there will be sore heads, and it certainly sounds a lot quieter in the background than it did this time yesterday.
Yes, well, we're out at a little village called Vaiala, which is about a 10-minute drive out of the middle of Apia, so it's a bit quieter here. Beautiful spot right next to the beach. There's coconut trees and all of that sort of stuff, and it's absolutely picturesque. But yes, Paul, you're right. I think it'll be a little bit more subdued today. But one of the wonderful things about yesterday is that win or lose, everyone was really going to go away happy, because I think for most Samoans, the All Blacks are their second favourite team. So they were pretty happy just to be there and just to have the All Blacks in Apia.
OK, I've got to say too, your rugby cred stayed with you because I condemned you for your very close selection of 36-26. I now commend you. I thought the gap would be much larger than that, and Hillary, who agreed with me, then went larger still towards the end of the programme. So why was it so close? Why were the All Blacks not better?
Well, look, it was the first test match for the All Blacks, so they were always going to be a bit rusty, and they were certainly rusty. But I think we need to look at what's happened to Samoan rugby over the last 5 to 10 years with professionalism. Most of that team are playing professional rugby either in Britain or in France or in New Zealand. So they are now of a very high standard, and you saw that again yesterday. Add into that, it was really hot, and that had a clear impact on the All Blacks. You know, Richie McCaw had a magnificent game, but he was absolutely buggered by the end of it. So, you know, those two things, I think, well, three things: the rust, the professionalism of the Samoan team, and the heat and humidity.
Everyone is talking about the All Blacks. Oh, you need to go back because it's such a fantastic event. You know, you need to go around the Pacific Islands, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, we've got to remember a lot of this comes back to money, and this has been the opposite to a money spinner for the All Blacks, hasn't it? This is a goodwill tour.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a goodwill tour, and it's one that could happen every 4 years, Paul. It can happen in a World Cup year, so there's no excuse for the New Zealand Rugby Union not to go to Fiji, for instance, at the next World Cup, and then to Nuku'alofa, to Tonga at the following World Cup, and sort of do it on a rotational thing, just like the British and Irish Lions tour every 4 years. There is absolutely no reason why they can't do it every 4 years. To expect them to do it every year, very unrealistic, very naive, because they need to play those June tests to make money. Yeah. But every 4 years, every World Cup year, this should happen.
Well, they're certainly leaving behind a huge amount of goodwill, and not just goodwill, but they're leaving behind a huge amount of infrastructure too, which the Samoans will benefit from hugely. Now, let's talk about the All Blacks. When do they actually leave? When do they physically fly out?
They fly out at 3:30 this afternoon, and they're flying from about 30 degrees here to whatever the temperature is in Christchurch, which I think is about -2. Yep. So that's a bit of a temperature shift for them, isn't it? Okay, now what I thought this was the case, but there is a discrepancy here. They fly out at 3 o'clock today. You fly out next Tuesday. I'll fly out next Monday and land on Tuesday morning, Paul, so you'll have me back on Wednesday. I promise I'll be there. But you see where I'm going. You can see where I'm going with this, though, don't you? I mean, they actually did work while they were there. I glossed over that. All right, you take care. It's lovely weather. So I'm having a wee little break with my... All right. Yeah, no, finish that sentence. Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought you were throwing away. I'm having a wee little holiday with my lovely wife, Paul. So we're going to have a couple of days here in Samoa. Okay, all right. And you won't be hiking on that dodgy toe that you broke the other day. All right, you take care. Have a wonderful holiday. It's the last one you'll be getting. Right, 27 minutes past 7. You're with